we can move into actionable tips. So the first one, again, I'm using movies. So yeah, I love movies. I already told you guys at the beginning. Tip number one, never outshine the master. I'm sure you guys have uh, probably seen The Devil Wears Prada. If you have not seen it, don't be like me. I actually I didn't see it for a very long time, and then I was with my wife and I said, "Oh," and she mentioned The Devil Wears Prada. I said no, and she was like, "What do you mean?" And we watched it that night. So never outshine the master. Very important. Um, never outshine the master. Make sure that you give credit to them for their contributions, and always avoid overshadowing them with your own achievements. It's very, very important that you always make sure that your stakeholders feel valued and respected. Don't just throw away their ideas when they come to something with you. Don't just say, "Oh yeah, we're just going to throw it in the backlog and we're going to forget about it." So don't do that. And there were some times where the girls who were working for Meryl Streep's character, tried to overstep and try to, do what kind of thing. And yeah, it just did not go very, very well. So try not to outshine your master. Always make sure that your stakeholders give them credit for their contributions. If a stakeholder give you a very fantastic idea, when you're doing a demo session or a sprint review, mention that stakeholder's name, like, "Oh, thanks to this stakeholder, we were able to find out that this particular problem existed, and it gave us like a new understanding on how to go about this problem." That's very, very helpful. It helps you to build a lot of trust and helps you to maintain a positive relationship. Win through your actions, but never through arguments. And I see product managers sometimes always think that, let's start arguing. I was there before. Once I started arguing, just give me a second. So once I started arguing, I failed. 100%. I failed. I failed so badly when I was arguing with them, and they beat me a lot. I mean, I was arguing with people that had 15, 20 years experience in their field, and I just had like 6 months product management experience. Why was I wasting my time arguing? So I realized that execution was more important than arguments. So I focused on how my actions could actually win the stakeholders over to my side. So when you're faced with disagreement and conflict with the stakeholders, demonstrate the value of your ideas through actions and results. And that's what really helped me in my journeys. I noticed that once execution was like very, very important for the company I was working for. So I focused on execution and results instead of engaging in lengthy debates. Oh, don't do this. Oh, don't do that. I focused on execution. I focused on experimentation, places where I thought that we could experiment and we see how the results came out. If there were great results, I was able to share with those stakeholders, say, "Hey, we had great results from this experiment, as you can see." And they could see like, that's very interesting. And that could bring them on my side and help me build a very good level of credibility. So this would also help you to maintain the support or gain the support of those stakeholders and also maintain a positive working relationship. The film that you're seeing here is Shawshank Redemption, which is one of the best films that was ever created. And the main character could have just been, arguing and arguing and wondering, why was I here? Instead, he puts, action into ensuring that he would leave the prison, would escape the prison instead of, focusing on or arguing with the system, really. And that was just his character, really. Was like his watchword. So let's go to the next tip, which is when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest. A lot of product managers don't do this a lot, and it's not a bad thing. I just want to say any tip I'm sharing here is not a bad thing. I'm not teaching you to become a dictator or anything. I'm not sharing this knowledge, right? So when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest. This is Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean. If you have not seen Pirates of the Caribbean, again, I ask, what are you doing? Please go and see Pirates of the Caribbean, the trilogy. So so yeah, Jack Sparrow is an expert with appealing to people's self-interest. He knows what moves people. He knows how he can get to people and move them to do things on his behalf. See, there are sometimes where you shouldn't argue. You shouldn't. There are sometimes where you can't execute. You can't argue with those stakeholders. What you need to do is frame your request in a way that benefits what frame your request rather in a way that would highlight what they can benefit from helping you. So if there's something they say, oh yeah, like we need to, change this, and in changing this, this would help you to, do this. This would help your process a lot faster, and show them how it will actually help their process. This will even make them more likely to provide the assistance that you need. And I do this a lot when somebody is not, somebody is taking too long with a request that I need. Um, with something that I need from them, I just, appeal to maybe their manager and say, oh, hey, I would really like this report because this is what this report is going to help me to do. And if it helps me to do this, then it can help you to do that, right? And the manager is so quick to just like send an email or a message to them and say, hey, provide this as quickly as possible. They really need this, and that happened a lot. And yeah, when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest. Very, very important. Number four, don't build fortress to protect yourself. Don't build fortresses to protect yourself. If you have not seen Frozen, I suggest you see Frozen too. Very good animation, fantastic. Um, so everyone knows or almost everyone here knows the main character, Elsa, and we all know what Elsa did. Elsa basically built a frozen empire, and nobody could basically get in. So she isolated herself up to the point where her powers were even dangerous for the people that she was basically governing as queen of the kingdom. So isolation is dangerous. So what does this actually mean? What this means is that you should engage with your stakeholders regularly, maintain open lines of communication, make it easy for them to reach out to you. You know, most program managers are always like trying to hide themselves, and most stakeholders will not meet you. What they will do is go and meet other stakeholders that that they shouldn't actually meet. They'll be meeting the wrong people instead of actually meeting you, who is the right person that could help them with that. So isolating yourself could lead to a lot of misunderstandings, could lead to a lot of missed opportunity for collaboration. So try and foster a collaborative environment where stakeholders feel comfortable sharing their ideas and concerns. So, for this particular tip and this particular image that you're seeing, I have not seen this series, Mad Men, but I have read a lot on the character Don Draper, who is the main protagonist for the series Mad Men, one of the best series as well created of all time. And one thing that I've seen, I mean, I started watching a couple episodes. The way I am with movies is once I stop watching, I forget about it. So I don't know if anyone is like me. If you're like me, let's create our own focus group together. But anyways, um, one thing that fascinates me about Don Draper is because he works in the advertising business, he knows how to think like people. He knows how to think like himself, but he knows how to behave like people. He knows how to blend in, and that's something that was very, very helpful for him in being a very successful advertising man. Why am I saying this? Why I'm saying this is because while I think that is important, everyone here as a product manager to have their own ideas, their own opinions, it's very important that you need to be mindful of the organizational culture that you're operating in, and also understand what the stakeholder expectations are like. Because if you don't, you'll be very frustrated, and you'd think that nobody likes my ideas, nobody likes my opinions, nobody likes what I'm pushing. Everybody thinks that I'm wasting everyone's time. I feel like a failure. I feel overwhelmed. you start having all these intrusive thoughts. But really, what you have not thought about is how can you actually behave like them so that you can also push your ideas. Think how you like, but adapt your behavior, your communication style to fit the environment, because this will help you to gain the rapport and gain the trust of the stakeholders. Number six would probably be very aggressive, but it's a bonus tip. Stop complaining. Yeah, I'm so sorry I said that, but I know most of you have complained this week about a particular stakeholder, and it's good to complain, and it's good to air out your thoughts and views. I mean, I have people that I complain to, but this is also a tip to myself: stop complaining and put things into action. And that is why I love the character Tony Stark. um, Tony Stark is such a very fantastic character when it comes to putting, words to action. He says we're going to do this, so we're going to do it, and this is how we're going to do it. No complaining, just straight up vibes and straight to the point, right? So, very very important. Try to limit, even if you can't stop complaining, limit the level of complaining that you put out there. So instead of complaining a lot more, complain a lot less and start acting a lot more, right? So with all of the tips that I've given, all of the power interest grid that I've also shared, understand who that person you're dealing with is. Don't complain too much. Understand the kind of person he or she is. Understand who they are as a person, what makes them as a person, where they are in the power interest grid that I have shared with you today, and start working accordingly.